What's up, guys? Today we are going to finally set up the Betta Condo and move the old tenants into this guy so we can make room for the new shipment that are still acclimating. So these guys need a permanent home. Let's give them a little bit more space. So what I'm going to do is take this 33-gallon long, divide it into 5 partitions, giving them, a little more than 6 gallons each to make it more of a permanent home. So that's how I got it. Pretty bare right now. Just did the vinyl background on it. And let's make the dividers. All right, first things first. Get yourself some corrugated plastic sheets from Michaels. These are, 20-inch by 30-inch. And they will give you exactly 2, I believe, yes. They're a little dusty, so we'll just wipe them down. Okay, so 20-gallon longs, I did a video for them. And this 33-gallon long is about the same measurements. So we'll start from the beginning. We are gonna go with the first one. You always want to go bigger for your first one than smaller. Like I said, once you go smaller, you can't make it bigger. But if you are bigger, you can always go back and make it smaller. So the rough estimates are slightly less than a 12 by 12. So this is where I take the 2 rulers. You don't have to do it this way. You can just use one and kind of mark it. So I know it's going to be slightly less. So what I'm doing is going down a smidge from that. And as you can see, they have these lines on them. So I'm going to use that as a guide to cut. Get a nice sharp blade. Cutting it this way, going parallel to the lines, is a lot easier than the other way. Pierce it through, run it down, using a little bit of force. Always want to cut on a surface that you can afford to make cuts on. So there's that. And then making sure this is also about 12 inches. All right, now this part, they don't have the guidelines, so you're gonna have to kind of make sure that it's straight. You can square it off the end. If your ruler's straight along the edge of this board, then chances are you are good. Let's get this guy out of the way so we don't cut into that. And this one might take a couple cuts, just because it's got the spines and makes cutting into it a little bit harder. All right, so there we go. Shaved off a little bit of the ruler, but that is fine. It's got a little metal tip to it. Looks like I've shaved off some already, but that is okay. So now we've got our first cut. This we're going to use as our guide. So we're going to take this guy over, to our tank and measure it. So the height looks perfect, but the width or the depth, the width is not. So from here, you can definitely make adjustments. What I suggest is you making adjustments to where it's parallel this way, since it's easier to cut. So the height is fine both ways because it's exactly a 12 by 12. So we're gonna cut along these lines, keep taking little smidges off. Like I said, don't be afraid to make this larger and have to shave a little bit off because it's easy to take pieces off, but you cannot put pieces back on. So cut this along this guy, nice and easy. Take a piece off, then we'll go back and we'll test fit it. Now you're going to have to do this probably a couple times to get it perfect. Cut it off there. Alright, so actually it only took me one time and it's good enough. I probably took a little bit too much off, so learn from my mistake. But I think it's gonna be okay since I have those end caps that I'm gonna use. So you can see there's just a little bit of space. Try to. This is this right here. So yeah, it's just a little loose. A little loose. I mean, I guess I can do it that way and take some off of that side, and then if I want it to be tight. We'll see what it looks like after I put the end caps on. Alright. Then we're going to come back to our workstation. And we're going to use that one piece as a stencil. So I'm going to put it down here, lay it to match it up as best as you can, and cut along. And if we did cut a little bit smaller than we wanted to, then this one make a little bit larger. So you can go over perfect. Alright. We'll take that piece and then we'll test fit that. And then we'll just keep doing that until you have enough dividers, the amount of dividers that you want. Alright? Alright, now that we've got 4, because we're making it into 5 sections, we are going to go get those end caps, like I had in my last video, the binder spines. And I'm going to put them this way. I'm just going to cap them on all the sides. So pop it in and slide it down. It's got a little tear in it, so we'll go the other way. You're going to try to make your cuts as straight as possible, but sometimes you are going to have little mistakes. Alright, and then we have that little lap. That's fine because we're just going to snip those off. Take another spine, put it through. Alright, so little overlapping pieces, we'll just cut them off here. Perfect. So it's flush. Same thing to the other side. Perfect. Alright, so that's what we got. And we're going to do that again 3 more times. I almost forgot something. Is my camera straight? Alright, before I forget, we are going to do the hole punching because this is going to be the same setup as we have in the other tank with the spray bar and everything. So in the other tank, I did too many holes for my liking along the side, so I'm going to do a little bit less. But instead of going on top this time, I'm going to go along the bottom. Because I'm going to have in the back more of a gravelly sand. I think with any substrate it should still work, but water should still be able to pass through. So instead of making the holes on top, we're going to go down the side, not as many, and then on the bottom as well. Once again, not as many. Last time, I believe I went 1.5 inches along the sides and then 2 on the top. I think I'm going to stick to 2 all around, maybe even 2.5. So however you want it to look, I like the less holes look, but you do also want to make sure that you have enough water flowing through all partitions. This is going to be a larger tank, so it might need more flow, but let's adjust when we get there. Fingers crossed, hopefully it works. So I've got another canister. Something I did have to buy for it was this from Amazon. Luckily I found it. I was just gonna DIY one myself, but it wouldn't have looked as nice. They have these in a couple different sizes and a couple different lengths. So technically, I think it's a little bit bigger, the hole diameter, than for the hose output for the canister filter, because this is bigger than my other one. So I might have to get a coupling or whatever those things are called so I can make it smaller. But this is really nice. It's essentially a spray bar, and it's gonna go 47 inches, I think they advertise, which is perfect because my tank is 48 inches. And yeah, so we do the same thing where we're gonna put it inside the dividers. So I'm gonna drill a hole into all of them at the same part to make sure this fits, and then I'm gonna make sure the end of it will fit my, it's a little bit loose on this side. I'm gonna have to figure out, I'm gonna put a rubber band on there or do something so it sticks. But essentially, hopefully it should be underwater, so that little leak shouldn't matter. But I gotta make sure this fits the hose for my canister filter. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we'll regroup once that's done. All right, all 4 pieces have been cut. We drilled the hole using the same method, and this is the next biggest size, but there's a little bit of gap, and I think that's a good thing just because it'll let more water flow. So that fits like I want it to. All 4 are done. Got holes going around the back wall. It's less, and then we got a little bit more on the bottom, which is going to be below the substrate, so you're not going to be able to see that much. So all in all, same method. Gonna go 4. Let's add it to the tank. All right, so whoops, we've got the dividers. So this is a sun that came off one of my flower horn tanks. I had another canister filter that I was going to use, but I realized the body of it has a crack, so that isn't going to work because we need that pressure. So I've rigged this up, and I guess it's still good because it's got a lot of beneficial bacteria from being running for the past couple months, that it's going to help instantly cycle the tank. Had to adjust this. I don't know what I'm going to do with that because this has got a mount for the frame, but it's really high. But let's go ahead and get these. There's also still water in here. Get these dividers installed. Something I always wanted to do. Let's do it. All right. All the filters are in. They're about evenly spaced apart. And then I'm just going to put the bar through and hook up the filter. I do have to put some substrate down because it is a little bit looser than the one I did last time. So let's go ahead and get that in and start filling it up. All right, so I added the gravel. Wanted to go with the more like natural look. So we're gonna do like a half gravel, half sand. Just had it against the back wall. Gonna have it curving around the sides over here. Wash that up. Now I'm washed up some sand. It is 10 o'clock at night, but I need to get this done. The sand is a half and half mixture of play sand and pool filter sand. The reason I wanted to do play sand was because it was that dark color. Now I know it can compact, so I mixed in a little bit of pool filter sand, but yeah, I mean, I've got the gravel in there. I don't think it's gonna be an issue. I had sand in a couple of my tanks, turned out all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that in there, and let's add some water. All right, so got the sand in, got kind of a beachy vibe going on. I'm gonna start filling up the water, and hopefully the sand levels out, and then let's see what happens. When you do this though, you wanna make sure that it is a low flow, so you don't want the sand splashing around everywhere. Now it is only in one compartment, but slow flow, nice and easy. All right, so far this is what it looks like. So you can see, I mean, I don't know if you can see, but the flow from under the substrate is pushing everything over. So that's great. Everything is decently level. So just like the other one, as expected, it's a little bit higher here. So when we run the filter, it is going to be a little bit lower on this side, but I am extremely happy with the flow. All right, tank's going. Everything's kind of settled. It is dirtier on that side, I think, because everything was pushing over there. But as if you guys can take a look at the flow is going good, just how we want it. It might be too much. So just like another tank, we might have to turn it around to face the other way, but only time will tell. So I'm just gonna get my water conditioner and heater, and let's finish it off. And there you go, guys. Tossed in my Fritz Complete, letting it circulate, cleaned it off a bit, Yep, so this side water is lower, but just like the other tank is because the intake is on that side. And let it clear up for about a day, and then tomorrow we'll start, you know, adding, I guess, the driftwood, maybe some plants, and then probably the day after is when we'll start moving the fish. Yep, we're just gonna let it run for a couple days. I'm gonna toss in some tannin extract and then put in some Indian almond leaves pie right now, so the tannins can be there when the fish get there. So that's about it. Hopefully you guys learned something today. You know, like this video if you did. Subscribe. I've always got stuff coming out and more betas. All right. Thanks for watching.